Hey there, friendly call signs. This is Scott from Plays with Soldiers, and in this video we're going to talk about Exercise Painted Serpent, which was a mental health and miniature painting weekend. As you'll have seen from previous posts about raffles and things, I ran a painting weekend. It was in Nottingham at a place called Chetwynd Barracks. Now this started out as a RAMS, or Royal Army Medical Services weekend, but we soon extended it out to wider Army and then Tri-Service and Veterans and Civil Service. The aim of the weekend was to look at the link between mental health and miniature painting and modelling, and seeing how we can reinforce the former whilst actually getting through some of our shelf of potential. Friday started with 5 of us arriving early. We got up to the club, cleared the tables off and got ourselves set up ready for painting. We sat, we chatted, we drank brews, we painted for a little bit and went to bed. Saturday we got into the meat of the weekend. Now Richard was very kind enough to come up to Nottingham, and on the Saturday morning he ran some mental health training for us. Now, he talked about things like red flags, things to look out for people who may be struggling with mental health. It's not just you, that maybe people who you work with. A lot of the people on this course, we had quite a few officers, we had some senior NCOs, so it's people who are in charge of other people, people who are in managerial positions. So it's looking out for things that, signs and symptoms that your subordinate workers may be showing, but they are not wanting to come forwards with any issues. But maybe if you see them, then you're in a position you can approach them and see if they need help. After that, we had a second Richard. This second Richard was from Models for Heroes. This is the charity that the weekend was supporting. You know that I've done some charity work for them in the past and some fundraising for them. So Richard came down to talk about the charity, what it was like to get involved with them, what it was like to get support from them, how he got to be volunteering for them, and services that they offer to people who maybe just need a little bit of help. After lunch, we were up to the club and we got ourselves set up and we got settled into painting. Now this was where we had our 3 workshops. We had 3 individuals who were very kind to donate their time. The first workshop was run by H, who actually runs Chetwynd Barracks Gaming Club. Now he did a bit on 3D printing for things like terrain and stuff like that, and a lot of the terrain that they've got up at the club is all 3D printed, and some of it is just absolutely fantastic. Our second workshop was Toby, who ran a beginner's airbrush workshop. Now he looked at how to mix paints, how to put them through the airbrush, some basic techniques and things, and that was really interesting. Personally, I found that really good because I've been wanting to give airbrushing a try, but I didn't really know what I was doing and things. So he ran that workshop, and then we had Galeri, who were one of the sponsors of the weekend, who sent us down a couple of their starter kits with a mini compressor and an airbrush, and we got those set out, and people were able to move from the workshop and look at what was going on there, and and ask questions, and then move on to the actual painting table. And then Toby was there to be able to give hints and tips and talk people through doing stuff. So that was really helpful. Thirdly, we had Jade from Gatehouse Gaming UK. She was doing a basing workshop. So she was talking about not just different materials that you can use for basing, but different ways to do it as well. Things like splitting levels, but also how you can draw the eye around a base and then focus it on certain parts of the model. And talking about levels and different focus points and things like that, which was stuff I just, to be honest with you, hadn't even considered. I usually just whack a bit of PVA glue and a bit of flock down on it, and that's about that. But some of the stuff that she was producing, Jade produces some absolutely phenomenal bases for her minis. And when you see some of the photos in some of the other posts, you'll see just how phenomenal they are. So thank you very much to those 3 for putting on those workshops. You really added some value to this weekend. Into Saturday evening, and it was the pizza and beer social. So that's exactly what it sounds like. It was pizza, it was beer, we chatted, we painted, and then the football was on. So several people decamped off up to the officers' mess and sat and watched the football, but also set up a game of 40k as well. So there was 40k gaming going on as well as football watching, which was a nice round out to the first day. Bringing into Sunday, and we all set up and sat, chatted, did painting for the morning, had lunch, and then came back afterwards. Now the Sunday afternoon was where we got into the really fun bits, and this was when the raffles started to get drawn. So looking at online ticket sales, we sold 671 tickets for a whole bunch of prizes, which was fantastic. And there's going to be another post about the sponsors and things like that coming up. Using Raffle.com, that was all drawn on my behalf. I didn't have any hand in that. And the reason why I wanted to use Raffle was so that I couldn't be accused of, handing out prizes to particular people or anything like that. Plus, the money would go to Raffle and then from Raffle to the charity. So no actual money came to me in any way. So I think that helped sort of maintain the integrity of the Raffle in a way. So I'm really glad that I did that. So we were lucky enough to have several people who were on site who won prizes, so they could collect their prizes there and then. And then we moved on to the in-person raffle. Now, this was Anthony, the bottom third modeler. He donated a fully painted Reaver Titan, which was just absolutely fantastic. We sold £210 of raffle tickets for that, and that was the first prize for that raffle there. H also donated a Thunderhawk gunship as second prize, and the winners for that were Andrew Flanagan, who won the Titan, and Jade, who won the Thunderhawk. After that, things wound down, we packed up, we came home. It has been a fantastic weekend. Everybody who went enjoyed it. We've been asked when we're doing it next. So, next events, looking to the future, what are we going to do? So, we are talking about maybe running a campaign weekend because 11th edition has just come out. So maybe doing like an intro to 11th, some sort of campaign weekend with 40k there. But yeah, actually, I'm a massive Kill Team fan as well. So what we're thinking about doing is maybe having like the 40k campaign running as a few games here, but then having Kill Team games running along this side, and what happens over here affects over here. So that would be really cool. So we're going to try and get that planned in before the end of the year, and kind of sooner rather than later needs to be better for that. Around Battle Weekend, which I've tentatively called Battle Serpents, is where we're going to get together and play games. So whereas Painted Serpent was all focused on painting, this is going to be about games, but not necessarily Games Workshop stuff. We're looking to try and pull in bolt action, black powder, black sails, like Malediction, other sort of war games that aren't Games Workshop, and see if we can spread a little bit of love for that. And I'm hoping to try and get Battle Serpent organised for maybe the end of January. And then, people really loved Painted Serpent. So I think I'm going to have to bring it back again. Now, this was obviously the end of June, and I'm probably going to look at doing it at the same time again in 2027, maybe give or take a couple of weeks, depending on, operational deployment calendar and all that kind of stuff. So future events, we're going to have a campaign weekend, we're going to have Battle Serpent, which we're going to aim for in January, and then Painted Serpent 27, which is going to be in June. So if you're a member of the Royal Army Medical Services, find us on Defence Connect, okay, or find me and drop me a message. If we're on the various WhatsApp groups, then drop me a message if you want to get involved. We'll probably end up opening them out to the Army and the Tri-Service sector as well. But if you want to be involved, drop me a message and we'll see what we can do. But wherever you are in the globe, whatever you're playing and whatever you're painting, the most important thing, stay friendly.